Are we capable of recognizing the toxic people in our lives? How do you recognize bad people and push them away? In life, we happen to encounter negative people who risk poisoning our path. In this Buddhist myth, you will discover the 9 signs that will allow you to recognize toxic people who threaten your spiritual awakening. So, relax and listen to this Zen story until the end to gain the knowledge you need to protect your emotional serenity and inner harmony. Give yourself a moment of self-help. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share the video. This way, you will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. In the silence of a remote Zen monastery amidst the mists of the Japanese mountains, the venerable Tenjin was meditating as usual. The young Julia, in search of peace and serenity because she was exhausted and beaten down by continuous toxic relationships, humbly joined the wise old man. Supreme Master, it is said that you know how to protect your spirit by recognizing toxic people, said Julia. Please share this knowledge with me. Help me increase my spiritual intelligence, she pleaded hopefully. Tenjin, with a slow movement of his head, replied, if you pay attention to what I tell you, being patient until the end, you will learn to recognize and understand who the toxic people on your path are. You will gain wisdom. But first, you have to concentrate in this personal growth. You will understand one fundamental thing. Every being is a river that flows towards the sea of wisdom and knowledge. Those you call bad are simply lost along the way, their waters polluted by past suffering. Before you push them away, ask yourself, what stones have diverted their course? Can I, perhaps, help them reach clearer waters? Julia listened with a heart full of compassion and expectation. He aspired to mental well-being with a strong motivation. Tenjin continued, now observe, the first sign is manipulation. Like the wind that bends the branches to its will, the manipulator will distort the truth for his own reward. It could be a colleague of yours who, by deceiving, hopes to advance his career. For example, faced with your success, he could start to belittle you, making you believe that you are not appreciated enough by your bosses, perhaps convincing you to accept another job in a distant place. Look beyond the words, see the hidden intent, and ask yourself if it is the wind of a storm or a light breeze trying to bring refreshment on a sunny day. If it is truly for your well-being or if it hides a deception, a scam. The young girl listened full of emotion, noting the similarity of the example with a recent experience of hers. Did the wise old man perhaps know that this inspirational story affected her from the inside? Possible. The second sign is the absence of empathy, continued the master, like a sky without stars. Think of someone who doesn't care about you unless it's in his own personal interest. Your emotional intelligence will warn you whether that person really cares about your well-being or not. It will only show its true nature when it has the opportunity to ask you for something in return. But you will be able to anticipate this if you have cultivated spiritual growth. Aware that he was retracing some of the girl's relationships, Tenjin continued. Third, the conflict, the thunder that pierces the silence. Think back to that person who, even if in a situation of peace and happiness, is looking for conflict, fueling friction and creating discontent. This need for conflict undermines the foundations of relationships and the environment, transforming everything into toxicity without constructive personal development. Then there is the need to dominate. Imagine your family member, partner, or friend who tries to manage your every decision, making you live the life that he would like, but which is distant from your true essence. When full of expectations, you share your thought or dream, the dominator will make sure to change your path in favor of his goals, regardless of your emotional balance. This need and desire to manage every aspect can create a toxic dynamic, making you submissive and naked. Think of a flower that is planted in the middle of the desert. The strength of the sun will bend it. The leaves will fall. Its beauty will be extinguished. Its path, like yours, will be interrupted. Julia remained silent, weighing her words while Tenjin moved on to the next signal: failure to respect personal space. Consider those who, without regard, cross the Zen garden of your soul, trampling on the flowers that you have spent your life carefully planting, invading your corners and not respecting your needs for quiet and solitude. This invasion, just as a hurricane can disrupt the landscape, can disrupt your personal motivation. Remember these personal growth pills. Every human being deserves a sanctuary of solitude and to be able to take care of their own Zen garden. The sixth pill I want to leave you, continued the master, is hiding behind lies or half-truths. Look at someone who, like a skilled painter, draws illusions instead of reality, hiding the truth behind brushstrokes of fiction, creating a world to his liking, indifferent to spirituality and ethics. In the girl's mind appeared the stories of her friend Marco, who, believing he was more interesting or wanting to appear so, had the habit of exaggerating his experiences. This tendency to distort reality is the sign of a soul that has gone astray. She is not sincere or pure, but she enjoys showing a truth that does not belong to her. Lying in the long run can only damage your vision and drag you into an abyss of falsehood. Tenjin spoke to Julia, his voice spreading like incense in the air. The seventh is revenge, similar to the fire that blazes after a spark of discord. Those who react with resentment to every challenge walk on a path full of embers, hurting themselves and others. Julia immediately thought of Mara, her sister-in-law, who, after an observation that conflicted with hers, had reacted by spreading lies, putting her in a bad light with her own husband and his family. The Supreme One noticed the disturbance in his eyes. This way of doing things can give rise to a relentless movement of toxicity and negativity, destroying relationships. Julia looked like she was about to crumble at that last observation. The penultimate sign is the hunger for attention, like a tree that twists towards the sun, forgetting the roots that nourish it. The friend she used to hang out with in the past appeared in her mind. Whenever he could, Andrea dramatized the situation, even in an exaggerated way, so as to have eyes and ears only for himself. This had led Julia to have many insecurities about herself and a great mood every time she returned home. The ninth sign is to evade responsibility like leaves that fly in the wind without ever landing. Think of those who always tend to blame others. At that moment, he thought of his cousin, the cousin she used to play with as a child, the one a little older, who according to her mother should have protected her and loved her. Instead, he never missed an opportunity to cause trouble, blaming her when the grown-ups asked, "Who did it?" Julia listened with a broken heart, but with a new awareness. Tenjin's words had begun to settle in his soul and spirit, like so many seeds. Understanding and recognizing these teachings requires a great spiritual journey. Very often we don't want to admit that there are people we love, but who, even without doing it on purpose, are hurting us. However, if we want to protect our peace, our balance, we must open our eyes and see. Awareness, continued the monk, is the light that illuminates the clues on the path. Listen to your intuition. It is the compass that guides you through the forest of relationships. Julia, between tears of liberation and gratitude, thanked the master for his precious advice, but Tenjin felt the need to continue. Remember, Tenjin whispered as the sunset painted the sky red, your peace is a lotus flower. Cultivate it with care. Surround yourself with people who reflect the beauty of your spirit. It will flourish even in the mud, maintaining its purity and perfection despite adversities. When you leave this place, take with you the wisdom of the lotus, a symbol of rebirth and overcoming adversity. Julia thanked the teacher again, her heart light as a petal in the wind. Tension, with a smile, blessed her. Go, open your eyes and be the light in the world. If you liked this story or it was helpful to you, remember to leave a comment and follow us so we can continue to make videos for your personal growth.